Hola niños! Bienvenue and welcome to Mr. Land's lesson here on organic chem. Let's get our presentation going. Make sure you use your Cornell notes. Bring those into class. On your right-hand side, you can draw, you can write all your answers, anything you want. The title of the lesson is Organic Chemistry. You're probably wondering what the heck that is. Don't worry, we'll have it all figured out by the end of the lesson. It's everywhere and in everything. So let's get it going, guys. Get your answers down. And here we go. By the end of the lesson, you should be able to identify carbon in a compound and tell the difference between what is inorganic and organic. You maybe have heard this word when you go shopping at H-E-B and you look up at the aisles and it says organic fruits here. I always laugh because, well, everything that was alive or is alive is organic. So let's get right into it. Ask me in class about that. What do these all have in common? Take a look. Gasoline, plants, barbecue pits, diamonds, plastic, pencil. If you haven't gotten the idea yet, yes, they all have carbon. The element of carbon is number 6. Its mass is 12.011. It has the symbol of C on the periodic table. Remember from 6th grade when we were studying the periodic table, all those beautiful elements on that beautiful table? Carbon is one of them. Guess what else is made of carbon? That's right. You, my friends, ladies and gentlemen, you are half of carbon. And that means that when we pass or our bodies die, it goes back into the earth. Think about that. All of the things that have been living are now non-living. Where are they? That's right. They're in the earth. So everything that was alive in this great big ball of ours is now back in itself, in the earth. That's pretty crazy, right? Yeah. I know. It's mind-blowing. Childish Gambino, he'll help you out here. So let's go on. Carbon is so important to the processes of life, including photosynthesis and the carbon cycle and the nitrogen cycle, even water. It is so many different forms that we can find. We have diamonds and graphites, and which we find in pencils, and coal and fossil fuels and oils, even plastics that you find in Walmart and use every day. Those are all made of carbon, right? That blows the mind. So in your notes, please write down the examples, and there is a picture at the top left. Please draw the atom of carbon. This is what the smallest structure of its form would be. It's the atom of carbon. Please draw both of those in your notes. Pause and rewind as you need to. Don't forget, kids. Pause and rewind. Here's the periodic table, which we saw in 6th grade. It's beautiful. I love this invention. It was invented by the Russian... Do you know who invented it? A Russian man named Dmitry Mendeleev. Had a big beard and a very heavy Russian accent. So this beautiful bad boy here was invented by the first of its kind. It is a wonderful invention. I love it. Between this and YouTube, I'm happy. This periodic table we will look at a little more during class. Notice where carbon is. Have you found carbon? Can you see carbon? There's a lot of C's on this thing, but have you found carbon? It's at the top right. It's top right, green. Yes, number 6, 12.011. There's carbon. We'll look at it some more in class in the periodic table, and maybe you can meet Mr. Mendeleev a little bit. What is the difference between an element and a compound? This is important, kids. The element is a substance made of one atom type. It is pure in its form. In other words, it can't be broken down anymore. So if I want oxygen to breathe, that means that oxygen is an element in its purest form. I can breathe in other things, but I'm probably breathing in a combination of other things. I want oxygen. What about helium? When we suck in, it makes us sound like midgets, right? Helium in its purest form is helium. It can't be anything else. Carbon in its purest form, at C, an atom, can't be anything else. That is what makes it an element. It is a periodic table of pure substances. But a compound, that's like in English when we say a compound word, right? Like boyfriend, farm, house. 2 or more atoms of different types make up an element. So water is really important to drink, right? H2O. H and O are 2 or more elements. You put those together and you get a compound. That's right. You got to know the difference. How do we tell? Well, by looking at the letters, the capital letters will tell us if we're looking at an element. And those elements that have one letter are pure. Any compounds have 2 or more capital letters in them. H and O. Carbon dioxide is another common example, which comes out of our noses when we breathe. Carbon monoxide, which comes out of cars when they're turned on. Those are C and O, 2 or more. Very important difference, kids. Pause and rewind here as you need. Please write down the difference in your notes. We must know this difference. So let's practice real quick. If you can do this, you're set. Ready? H. What do you think? Element or compound? Mariah Carey's happy. If you can answer all these, you're going to get them. Look how happy she is. That's an element. H is an element. How about H2O? That's got to be a compound because you see the two more capital letters right there. How about O, or oxygen? I mentioned it earlier. That's an element. What about neon? Neon, which we find in signs like in Las Vegas, all glittery and bright. That would be an element. How about sugar? Love sugar, right? Give me some Red Bull. Love sugar. Sugar is going to be a compound because it has carbon, hydrogen, and oxygen in it. What about carbon dioxide? That would be a compound. If you got 100%, Mariah's crying, I'm crying. We're all crying. Let's go on. The earth is filled with living and dead things, right? So, like I said at the beginning, they go back into the earth. Anything that's alive has to have carbon in it. It has to. Even non-living things have carbon in them, but they pass on. It's the most important element when we classify an organic compound. This is important. Define this, please, in your notes. If a substance has carbon in it, then we say that it is organic, meaning that it's alive and it's going to pass on. It is organic. There are other elements that can help us identify if something is organic. These other elements are helpful. Carbon is the most important of them, but they can still help in identifying. They include hydrogen, oxygen, nitrogen, phosphorus, and sulfur. Right here at the bottom, you see the 6 most abundant elements of life. How do I remember this? Is I usually say, it's not a real word, but when I put all the elements next to one another in this form, CHNOPS, I say chinops. Chinops is the organic elements of life. That's how I remember it. And I usually try to teach it to the kids this way. Chinops. So make sure you draw those and get those examples of carbon elements in your notes, please. Everything that you eat is almost pretty much organic, unless you're eating like something crazy like metal, okay? Which I hope you're not, all right? Because that's just weird. But you are what you eat. So the organic things that you put inside you come out into organic forms with carbon. Sugars, which you love, they're made by plants. Plants have carbon. Glucose is sugar. That's organic. If you love carbs like pasta, go to eat the Olive Garden, grains, pasta, bread. You can't have a burger if you don't have bread. Carbs come from grains, which are plants. They make energy of glucose. That's carbon. Proteins, which I get from steaks and fish and eggs and cheese and nuts. Those are all carbon-based. What about lipids? Lipids you don't probably have never heard of, but that's a fat. Well, guess what fats are made of? They're made from carbon. Everything you eat is carbon-based, kids. Oh, yes, indeed. Are you hungry yet? A little bit? Possibly? Maybe? Did I say the words and it just maybe got you a little hungry a little bit? Possibly. Olive Garden, maybe? Love the Alfredo sauce. Am I right? Let's go on. What if a substance has no carbon in it? This can happen. If it does not have carbon in it, it is not considered organic anymore. Water is a very common mistake that kids assume is organic because they usually think water's alive and it has carbon, but water's not alive. Water is made of H2O. So there's no carbon in it. So it's no carbon in it, it's not organic. So in your definition, please, of your notes, the opposite of organic is called inorganic. In this case, is a prefix meaning not organic. Water is not organic. Calcium chloride, which is salt. Can't have tacos of barbacoa without a little salt on that. CaCl2 on the list here that you see in front of you, that has no carbon. It's inorganic. I'm sorry to tell you. So other examples can include rocks, types of rocks, water, even air can be inorganic because it has so many other compounds in it that don't have carbon. Metal has no carbon in it. It's made of metals. They are inorganic because they lack carbon. So at the end of this lesson, now that we have understood the differences, if you can answer these questions right now, I think you have a really good understanding of what organic versus inorganic is. What is the difference between an element and a compound? What do organic compounds have in common? What are some examples of organic compounds, like the kinds you eat? What is the difference between something that is organic versus inorganic or not organic? Take a look again at the video if you need to get some answers. Make sure your notes are well done. Guys, I appreciate you being here. Thank you so much. BB8, myself, and Finn, we say great job. I'll see you in class. All right, these are the vocabulary that you have to know. Organic, inorganic, compound, element. I might even throw sugar, carbs, proteins, and lipids because we love to talk about food. I love to talk about food. So I'm going to throw those in there as well. Okay? Make sure those are in your notes. Okay? Guys, thank you for working hard. Your reward is that you got better. Look, you made Steph happy. Look, he looks like a little kid, right? Doesn't he? Now go enjoy yourself. I'll see you soon in class. Bye.